Celebrating my learning style, my learning journey through education and OPV 1 to 2. I have two different learning styles, firstly visual and secondly verbal. Today I'm going to discuss both of my learning styles and the impact they had on my studies in OPV 1 to 2. Now firstly, let's look at my visual learning style. My visual learning style includes, firstly, summarizing my work in words and phrases that I understand. Looking at these colorful summaries, you can see that color definitely equals intelligence. Secondly, drawing diagrams and connecting certain concepts in a visual manner. Flow diagrams help me link different concepts to the same basic principle. Thirdly, jotting down ideas or facts while listening to a lecture. During a lecture, I will write tips and notes from the lecturer down because they tend to add more important information they've learned from experience, which aren't always in the slides. Fourthly, highlighting important information in a textbook or notes when summarizing isn't always an option. By highlighting, you make the important information stand out more, thus making it easier to learn from a magnitude of information. Fifthly, drawing pictures related to the topic being discussed to have something to connect it to visually. Visual connections are more important because it links concepts to real-life objects or things, making the information more tangible. And lastly, making my notes into flashcards in order to test my knowledge. Visual learnings in terms of OPV 1 to 2. When it came to OPV 1 to 2, I implemented my visual learning style as follows. I printed out all the slides and compiled them into a book format in order to keep all the relevant information together. I made notes beneath each slide while listening to the narrated slides and the lectures, broadening the information available to me. Thirdly, as it took a while for me to receive my textbook, I mainly just highlighted in the textbook because the information is a lot to summarize at this point. And lastly, my most challenging time in OPV was when I didn't have my textbook yet. My learning style, due to the fact that I'd made extra notes, helped me because not all the information needed for the tests and assessments were in the notes and slides. In this time, my side notes pulled me through the assessments. Secondly, let's talk about my verbal learning style. My verbal learning style includes repeating information aloud to imprint it into my memory. By repeating information, it is almost like learning a new song. It is a great way for me to remember information in a rhythmic manner. Secondly, making up rhymes or code words to remember a list of concepts. By creating a rhyme or acronym, I compile the first letters of different aspects of a concept into one word to be able to remember it better, as I did for many concepts in OPV 1 to 2. Thirdly, using flashcards, reading and repeating the information to verbally test my knowledge about a subject. This gives me an estimate about how well I know my work. And lastly, listening to the lectures and the narrated PowerPoint slides, receiving that information verbally rather than just using the notes and the slides to receive information. By listening to my lecturers and narrated PowerPoints, I hear and perceive information while reading, referring to my visual learning style. Lastly, let's look at verbal learnings in terms of OPV 1 to 2. When it came to OPV 1 to 2, I implemented my verbal learning style as follows. I read many of the slides aloud when I didn't quite understand the sentence structure or the level that the information was given to me, seeing that a lot of the information given is intellectual content. Secondly, as I said, I didn't receive the textbook early in the semester, so most of the information I needed for the assessments I received from the lectures and the narrated PowerPoints. I had to listen to learn the material. And lastly, I made flashcards when I needed to memorize information or link concepts. For example, the 3 common types of problems and the nature of problem solving.